Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perkenalkan, nama saya MEZZALUNA di ALKAUTSAR dari jurusan S1 Teknik Sipil Umum kelas A. Mata kuliah diam dulu. S1A125.013 dan ini tugas dari mata kuliah pengantar rekayasa infrastruktur sipil. I will be talking about the topic of infrastructure project management process. I will say I'm sorry if it seems like I'm really not energetic. I recorded like half of my video already before realizing I haven't hit the start recording button. So yeah, this is my second time doing this now. Again, I will be using a bit of English, whatever feels comfortable to me to help me explain my topic. Because frankly, I need all the help I can get to make a 1 hour long video. So, first slide. Manajemen Projek Infrastruktur. Apa sih itu? Nah, manajemen proyek infrastruktur merupakan suatu pendekatan sistematis untuk mengelola seluruh aktivitas proyek sejak tahap awal hingga proyek selesai dan berfungsi. Proyek infrastruktur seperti jalan, jembatan, bendungan, dan gedung publik memiliki kompleksitas tinggi karena melibatkan aspek teknis, ekonomi, sosial, lingkungan, serta regulasi pemerintah. Oleh karena itu, manajemen proyek bertujuan untuk memastikan bahwa proyek dapat diselesaikan sesuai dengan ruang lingkup yang direncanakan, dalam batas waktu yang ditetapkan dengan biaya yang terkendali, serta memenuhi standar mutu dan keselamatan. Dalam konteks teknik sipil, manajemen proyek bukan hanya aktivitas administratif, melainkan bagian integral dari proyek proses rekayasa. Insinyur sipil dituntut tidak hanya mampu merancang struktur, tetapi juga memahami bagaimana suatu proyek dikelola secara menyeluruh agar memberikan manfaat maksimal bagi masyarakat. So a few things I want to mention. Is it relating to the slide? Not really. It's just me trying to fill up the video duration. So first off, I have no clue where to put my camera. Like, look, I could do this, and it will still be blocking something. Like, look, dude, I can be a streamer. The other reason why I'm using English, again, I'm trying to yap my way out of this 1 hour video, but I'm realizing now it's not really a good choice of action, not the best, because my professor actually knows how to speak English like really well. It's pretty cool. I'm just spitting on other people that won't, and I'm just hoping that other people would just skim through my video and not actually look through this. Do I care about speaking coherently? Not really. I don't have any respect for the English language, and yeah, I'm trying my best. I think I don't know. I'm not really talking. I'm not editing this. I'm not editing this. Sorry. Next slide. Karakteristik. So karakteristik proyek infrastruktur itu yang membedakannya dari proyek lain, biasanya proyek ini berskala besar, berdurasi panjang, dan membutuhkan investasi yang sangat tinggi. Selain itu, proyek infrastruktur seringkali bersifat unik. Artinya, setiap proyek memiliki kondisi lokasi dan lingkungan dan sosial yang berbeda. Risiko dalam proyek infrastruktur juga relatif tinggi, baik risiko teknis seperti kegagalan struktur maupun risiko non-teknis seperti konflik sosial dan perubahan kebijakan. Karena infrastruktur melayani kepentingan publik, proyek ini berada di bawah pengawasan ketat pemerintah dan masyarakat. Keberhasilan proyek infrastruktur tidak hanya diukur dari selesainya konstruksi, tapi juga dari manfaat jangka panjang dan keberlanjutan infrastruktur tersebut. So, I had some thoughts about this. I forgot what. Well, maybe because I've already recorded this, and now I'm doing my second take of it, and I'm really pissed about that. But, oh yeah, the characteristic of project management and construction, infrastructure, whatever words I'm supposed to use, they're big and long, last long, and really expensive. The investasinya gede. I forgot what the English word. I don't think it's infestation. Investing? No clue what the noun is. That's all I think for this slide. So yeah, it's just a really big project. I'm not saying that only infrastructure projects are this big and cost this much. Frankly, I don't know why I wrote this at all, because I didn't. Next slide. Okay, so tahap inisiasi. Tahap inisiasi merupakan tahap awal dari siklus manajemen proyek infrastruktur. Pada tahap ini, kebutuhan akan suatu infrastruktur diidentifikasi berdasarkan permasalahan yang ada, seperti kemacetan, banjir, atau keterbatasan akses. Let me check if I'm actually recording this. I am. Cool. I'm doing this on one take, kind of. I'm not editing it. I've already said that, but I will say it again. So it's gonna be bad. Tujuan utama tahap inisiasi adalah menetapkan alasan mengapa proyek perlu dilaksanakan dan apa manfaat yang diharapkan. Kegiatan utama meliputi identifikasi pemangku kepentingan, penentuan tujuan proyek, serta penyusunan gambaran umum proyek. Hasil tahap inisiasi biasanya berupa keputusan strategis untuk melanjutkan proyek ke tahap berikutnya. Kesalahan pada tahap ini dapat berdampak besar terhadap keseluruhan proyek karena keputusan awal akan mempengaruhi perencanaan dan pelaksanaan selanjutnya. So this is the very first steps of a construction project. My throat kind of hurts. Not related to the video, but I just wanted to vent. Really wanted to use this image. Can you see my cursor? I hope you can. You can, okay. Because you can see in the initiation process, very first steps in the project is that you need to, figure out where to even start. You need to look for problems in the area. And I think that's really easy to look for. There's always problems in your area. It's just the hard part is figuring out the solution, or if you can do the solution or not. See, this guy isn't necessarily thinking hard about what problem to solve. It's just how to solve them. You can see it's pure fear of trying to figure out things. Civil engineering is hard. I think I haven't reached this part yet. It's hard and scary. This is what this guy is going through. This the initiation phase of a project, figuring out what to fix or what to improve with the help of infrastructures, buildings, and such. Oke, studi kelayakan merupakan tahap penting untuk menilai apakah suatu proyek infrastruktur layak dilaksanakan atau tidak. Studi ini mencakup berbagai aspek antara lain kelayakan teknis, ekonomi, finansial, lingkungan, dan sosial. Dari sisi teknis, dinilai apakah proyek dapat dibangun dengan teknologi dan sumber daya yang tersedia. Dari sisi ekonomi dan finansial, dianalisis biaya dan manfaat proyek dalam jangka panjang. Aspek lingkungan dan sosial juga menjadi perhatian utama karena proyek infrastruktur dapat berdampak besar terhadap masyarakat dan lingkungan sekitar. Hasil studi kelayakan menjadi dasar pengambilan keputusan bagi pemerintah atau investor untuk melanjutkan atau menghentikan proyek. I said a lot about this in my first take. I've forgotten everything about it. I think, so there's a lot of studies that you need to do, but these are like the first few. Studi kelayakan is how to check if your idea of a project is a good idea. Is it worthwhile to put all this effort and money? Like, who is it gonna bermanfaat ke siapa? No clue what the English translation of that is. So kind of like when you want to build a restaurant, you check if your location and the people in that location is a good fit for it or not. Like, you do a survey to the people around, if they are interested in like a KFC or something. Do they like KFC, or are they like more of a sushi kind of person, people in that area? Same thing here. You do the same kind of studies, but more in the physical aspects as well. Not yet, actually. That is in the next step, kind of. I don't think I put it in the slide. But yeah, you need to check how it's gonna affect the people and the environment around it. And if it's a good idea to continue with the plan or not. You can't just, raw dog everything. You have to do a lot of preparations. I mean, it's a building. I'm just speaking out of my ass right now. I don't really have good pictures here. I think they're doing studies. I'm not sure. It's just gonna be a bunch of people wearing hard hats because that's the only pictures I could find about civil engineering. You're gonna have to stick with that. Am I recording? I am. I'm gonna check every minute. Next slide. Perencanaan. I mean, the earlier parts are also perencanaan, just this the other phase of it. A phase within a phase. Perencanaan merupakan inti dari manajemen proyek infrastruktur. Pada tahap ini, seluruh detail proyek dirumuskan secara sistematis, mulai dari ruang lingkup pekerjaan, metode konstruksi, kebutuhan sumber daya, hingga jadwal dan anggaran. Perencanaan yang baik bertujuan untuk mengurangi ketidakpastian dan risiko selama pelaksanaan proyek. Dalam proyek infrastruktur, perencanaan biasanya melibatkan tim multidisiplin yang terdiri dari insinyur, ekonom, dan ahli lingkungan. Dokumen perencanaan menjadi pedoman utama dalam pelaksanaan proyek. Kualitas perencanaan sangat menentukan keberhasilan proyek karena kesalahan pada tahap ini dapat menyebabkan keterlambatan, pembengkakan biaya, dan penurunan mutu. Yeah, so I think every step of a infrastructure project is really important, but I guess specifically the first steps of it, because if your first step is wrong, you're gonna fall really badly. I think the rest of the steps are gonna be wrong as well. I don't have a better analogy for that. So yeah, it's really important not to mess up this one because it's gonna affect the rest of the process. Kind of like trying to think of something. I can't. Okay. Is there anything I want to talk about? Not really. Yeah, so perencanaan. As you can see, these people are planning. You can see how they're planning, how they're looking at each other, and I think talking, and also hunched over a desk with a laptop and some other stuff, and also they're wearing hard hats. That's how you know this is about construction projects. Is there anything I can reiterate more to, burn time to reach this 1 hour mark? Not really. Oh, I never knew that economics people are called econom. I thought that was interesting. Not really related to my video, but yeah, you can't mess up this beginning phase. It's real bad if you do. It's real important, more importanter than the other phases, which are still just as important, just a little bit less, I guess, in comparison. Next, manajemen waktu. Manajemen waktu bertujuan untuk memastikan bahwa proyek infrastruktur dapat diselesaikan sesuai dengan jadwal yang telah ditetapkan. Proses ini meliputi identifikasi seluruh aktivitas proyek, penentuan urutan pekerjaan, estimasi durasi, dan penyusunan jadwal pelaksanaan. Dalam proyek infrastruktur, keterlambatan dapat menimbulkan dampak signifikan, baik secara ekonomi maupun sosial. Oleh karena itu, pengendalian waktu dilakukan secara terus-menerus dengan memantau progres pekerjaan di lapangan. Jika terjadi deviasi dari rencana, manajer proyek harus segera mengambil tindakan korektif agar keterlambatan tidak semakin besar. I have nothing to say. Management and time. Management time. Yeah, you can see this guy looking at a clock. That's how I visualize this whole thing. That's another way of me saying I'm running out of images to use. And I clearly, you can tell, to just random hard hat again. Good old trick never fails me. So yeah, management time. You can't be late because if you're late, you're paying people to do stuff that isn't efficient. That's not a great sentence. Kind of like, yeah, you're just wasting everyone's time, and that's gonna affect your budget and stuff, and you're just gonna have to carry it out, like how they rushed the ending of Stranger Things season 5. You can't do that. Like, it's a good thing they were just planning a TV series and not a construction project, especially in infrastructure, which we have learned is big and long and takes a lot of time. You can't deviate it from the plan. It's a really sensitive thing because from our earlier planning, you can't deviate from this, because anything else that you're gonna do that's not according to plan is probably not efficient. This is assuming you've built a good enough plan to begin with. again, I'm counting on the fact that people that are watching this can't speak English because they'll know I'm not talking anything coherent. I'm just hoping that they're just skimming through. Again, I'm just talking to burn time, and I don't think I have more to say in this slide. And I'm running out, frankly. But next slide. Management biaya. Couldn't fit the management and this without it looking weird. Biaya. Okay, so we figured out that we can't waste time. Now we can't waste money either. Because I guess, I mean, they're kind of the same, but not really, I guess. We differentiated them in this. Manajemen biaya mencakup perencanaan, penganggaran, dan pengendalian biaya proyek. Dalam proyek infrastruktur, biaya merupakan aspek yang sangat sensitif karena biasanya menggunakan dana publik atau investasi besar. Estimasi biaya harus disusun secara cermat dan realistis, mencakup seluruh komponen pekerjaan. Selama pelaksanaan proyek, pengendalian biasa dilakukan untuk memastikan pengeluaran tidak melebihi anggaran. Pembekalan biaya dapat mengurangi kelayakan proyek dan menurunkan kepercayaan masyarakat. Oleh karena itu, manajemen biaya menjadi salah satu faktor kunci keberhasilan proyek infrastruktur. Kind of makes me think about that building, IKN, whatever. I never actually figured out what that building is for, never looked into it. I don't think they did this at all. I don't think our country did any management at all, at least not a good one. So again, I ran out of pictures for this. The pictures I use, as you can see, like this person A is holding up his wallet, their wallet. Really, I'm saying this is what happens when you don't properly manage your budget. And then this person B, who doesn't have that problem, person B is laughing at this guy because he managed his budget well. Like, there's no like pembekakan biaya because they actually figured it out from the beginning. What a boss! This is the goat. Laughing at this chud right here. Again, I couldn't figure out what to use as the visualization of this slide because the pictures I use implies that the budget is from the workers' wallets. Not entirely sure. I don't think so. Then again, what do I know? I don't think so, at least. Yeah, so you can't. So you have to figure out your money quick, or else you're gonna fucked up. You can't get money. You have to take care of it. Kind of how I atur uang like day to day, but in this time a bigger scale and in a construction project. Again, talking out of my ass. Hold on. I don't think I have anything more to say. Next, I will check if I'm recording again. I am. Cool. Next slide. What slide am I on? I'm running out of slides, dude. So we figured out how to manage time and budget money. Well, they really didn't figure it out. I just kind of told you that you have to manage these things. The rest is for you to figure out. The next thing to manage is manajemen mutu dan keselamatan. Manajemen mutu bertujuan memastikan bahwa hasil proyek memenuhi spesifikasi teknis dan standar yang berlaku. I really hope my mic has been recording this whole time. I'm not entirely sure. I'm really hoping. I don't really want to do a third take of this video. Mutu infrastruktur sangat berkaitan dengan keselamatan dan umur layanan. Selain itu, manajemen keselamatan dan kesehatan kerja atau K3 menjadi aspek wajib dalam proyek infrastruktur. Kecelakaan kerja tidak hanya merugikan pekerja, tetapi juga dapat menghambat pelaksanaan proyek. Penerapan prosedur K3 yang baik mencerminkan profesionalisme dan tanggung jawab sosial dalam proyek infrastruktur. So, yeah, you have to be real safe. You can't finish your project if you have dead workers, and the way to prevent dead workers or injured workers is to make sure they're geared up to the standard. Now, the picture I'm using implies the person has taken off their hard hat. You're not supposed to do that. This is what you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to put this on during construction, I'm pretty sure. For the rest of the attire, this is a vest, and this is another thingamajig. I'm sure these are supposed to help in construction. I'm not sure how, but I'm sure it does. So yeah, it's called keselamatan kesehatan kerja, which is singkat jadi K3. You can't, doesn't only affect their own well-being, your workers' well-being also affects your project. So if you don't care about your workers, just remember that they affect your project and your income. That's the motivation for you if you want to be a project manager, I guess. I'm not sure in construction. So yeah, in construction you have to be real safe. Everybody can't afford anything. You can't. This is gonna be you if your workers are injured and or dead. So one way to prevent that is also to be safe during construction. It's a lot of heavy lifting. Rocks can fall on you. I assume they can. That's why we wear these, right? And yeah, you have to be professional and safe during construction at all times. Next slide, I think. Okay. Monitoring, pengendalian, dan resiko. Monitoring dan pengendalian dilakukan sepanjang siklus proyek untuk memastikan kesesuaian antara rencana dan pelaksanaan. Proses ini mencakup evaluasi waktu, biaya, mutu, dan risiko. Risiko dalam proyek infrastruktur dapat berasal dari faktor alam, teknis, maupun sosial. Dengan manajemen risiko yang baik, potensi masalah dapat diidentifikasi lebih awal dan dampaknya dapat diminimalkan. Monitoring efektif membantu manajer proyek mengambil keputusan yang tepat dan menjaga proyek tetap pada jalurnya. So, as I've read this, you can see how these doesn't really fit into this, because I'm just showing you pictures of workers getting in like physical harm. Not sure what's happening here, because it looks like it's falling and he's trying his best to stop it, but yeah, that's not actually what this means. I don't think. I haven't actually read it. So yeah, risiko, like anything can happen. You have to be ready for that. Like, I don't know, natural disasters, like the Roblox game I used to play back then. Yeah, that can happen, and you need to be, you have to have a plan for that. Then you have to know the risks, to at least say that you thought of this happening before it actually happens for real, if it does. Monitoring, not sure what that means. Laksanaan, Oh, you need to constantly evaluate, the previous stuff, guys. You have to evaluate if you're managing your time correctly. Are you managing your money correctly? Like, are they actually going to stuff that you actually need? Making sure none of your team launders any money. I'm not sure if that's the word. Yeah, making sure just everything. Make sure everything goes along with the plan and the management that we've ensured proper. I'm forgetting a word. I'm not sure. Mutu is quality. I'm just realizing that now, right? Yeah. So not really like this is a bad visualization, but I couldn't really find photos that are a good visualization of monitoring pengendalian. I'm not sure what translation of that is. Monitoring pengendalian dan risiko dalam manajemen proyek infrastruktur konstruksi. Yeah, that. So yeah, kind of like constant evaluation, just like pengawasan, that things are going according to plan. What slide are we on? Again, I'm running out of slides. Next slide, I guess. Penutupan proyek. Tahap penutupan proyek merupakan tahap akhir dalam manajemen proyek infrastruktur. Pada tahap ini dilakukan serah terima hasil pekerjaan, evaluasi kinerja proyek, serta penyusunan dokumentasi akhir. Penutupan proyek yang baik memastikan bahwa infrastruktur siap digunakan sesuai fungsinya. Selain itu, evaluasi proyek memberikan pembelajaran penting untuk proyek-proyek selanjutnya. Dalam konteks akademik, tahap ini menegaskan bahwa manajemen proyek tidak berhenti pada pembangunan fisik, tetapi juga mencakup tanggung jawab jangka panjang terhadap infrastruktur yang dibangun. So yeah, we've somewhat learned about the phases that goes into a construction of an infrastructure or any building, I guess, technically. So we have the planning phase. I think I'd like to call it the pre-planning phase, because it's, if you're just looking for where to start, what problem do you need to solve, and can you solve this with the things that you have with you? Not a good sense, I mean like with the budget and the workers at sumber daya yang kamu punya, bisa, apakah bisa membantu masalah itu, and if you can do it well. And then the planning stuff actually goes into the counting, the designing and stuff. And I think planning stuff is getting into the actual physical nitty gritties of it. Not a thing that I should be saying because I can't say the word R. Right, and then the next one is actually the construction of the building. Yeah, that I did not put in here at all. Kind of. Well, we have some like management times. It's kind of included in that. And then this is the closing one. So you don't just let go of the building. You have to take care of it, and it's called maintenance. Take care of it, make sure it's actually running, because again, we're talking about infrastructures that are being used by the public. You have to make sure that's actually usable constantly. Make sure it's actually doing its job, and you can also evaluate the progress, kind of evaluate like what you have achieved with your project. Like, is it doing good? Like, what else is there to improve on? Or maybe you want to improve on the building, like maybe add another story, but don't do it like the one boarding school. That was horrible. Don't do that. Like, none of us don't do that. We really need pengawasan lebih ketat terhadap like pemeliharaan bangunan. So yeah, evaluation, as I've said. You can tell I didn't actually read this. I'm just talking. Evaluation, that you can use that knowledge for your next projects, or maybe you can fix something before it's too late. Like, maybe you realize people aren't actually going there because of, like, maybe the roads to there is bad, and maybe you fix the road, and maybe that means profit for you. Again, I'm not really sure. My throat really hurts. And again, ran out of pictures. They're just hard hat people with hard hats. And I did use Batman in this because Batman in this comic run is kind of new, relatively new. As in, I haven't read it at all since it came out, and it's been a while. Batman in Absolute Batman is actually a civil engineer. Like, he's a blue collar worker, and he would be the one doing the stuff that we have been talking about for the whole video. Am I recording? Yes. So yes. So just a recap again. We've learned about what I've forgotten already. So we have learned about the process, the phases, the steps that goes into an infrastructure project. Now, these are only about mainly about the management. Construction, there would be a lot more stuff detailing about, first of all, the studies that you can do. Have I actually said that? I think it was in my first take. Okay, so this, like, the studies that you can do is I'm gonna go to my last slide so it doesn't seem like I'm looping the video. Oh yeah, I forgot to, oops. There's actually a lot more studies that you can do. As I've said, or it's either technical or non-technical. You have to do all of them. Like, if you want to build a bridge, you have to, well, first off, I guess the non-technical survey is done, because that's where you get the problem from. Like, you figure out the people really need a bridge, or a bridge will really decrease the amount of time they spend on road just twirling, going around in an island, when it can easily be fixed by a straight bridge that would be useful for the people around that area. And that's how you know what you need. You do a survey, I'm pretty sure. And I guess the technical studies. Some examples would be, okay, a bridge. You need to do the geology of it. You need to do like some hydraulics as well. I'm not sure if I'm saying the right translations. Hydraulics, because well, you're dealing with water. It's gonna be a construction and a body of water that you need to put that into consideration as well. You have to figure out how the water behaves, how to make sure your bridge doesn't just go off to the sea or something. You have to make sure it lasts. You have to make sure what kind of like foundation. The kind of foundation you use at the bottom of the water. That's what the hydraulics is for. Uh, and also like what's the rain in there, because that also affects the water current, like how the water behaves and how do we build a bridge that can properly manage that and last long and actually works. What else? Yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. It was like right, bridges. Yeah. I guess I did. Yeah, this is more about the management stuff, like the type of things that you do, not necessarily as a worker, but as a as a manager. Yeah, yeah, you just kind of have to look for stuff and make sure people are doing their jobs correctly, and that is your job. I think I'm not entirely sure what civil engineering is about. Yeah, you have to be safe. You have to monitor from falling planks that might happen, or just maybe holding your friends' hands very dearly as you support them through something in their life. I don't think I have anything else more to say, but I still have half an hour that I need to burn. So I'm just gonna talk about things. I think management. A presentation is a formal and informal communication method that involves conveying information, ideas, or a message to an audience. So I actually have this like I told you guys I have this intermission. Well, it's not necessarily an intermission anymore. Intermission is something that happens like in between. This is happening at the end. Not necessarily intermission anymore. So I'm just gonna talk about. I don't want to loop the video. I feel like that's cheating. I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna talk about the things I know in Materi, Infrastruktur, SIPIL. Again, my voice is gone. Not sure. It hurts. Pengantar rekayasa infrastruktur sipil. So, pengantar rekayasa, as we've said, is a implementation of your knowledge to real world, real life action. But implementasi, I'm forgetting the synonym for that word. Implementasi is it's just a mouthful. Implementasi pengetahuan teknik sipil. Ilmu teknik sipil dalam dunia nyata. Nah, dalam dunia nyata kalau konteks teknik sipil ya berarti dalam lapangan, konstruksi, like what do you use your knowledge there. Like as we learn, we have learned, like, right guys, how to manage an infrastructure project. Like how do we manage, do I remember? I'm not really. How do we manage time? How do we manage money, the budget, and how do we? I'm gonna block the Batman. I think it looks really ridiculous. How do we manage everything? Because construction takes a lot of time, a lot of people. Sumber dayanya banyak. Also, yeah, I've been off center this whole time. I'm gonna move now, I guess. Yeah, but there's a lot of. It's not just a group project. It's a really big group project, and I think this is it. I think when intermission looks stupid. Jadi sekian dari penjelasan saya. I think maybe I'll pause for a bit. I'm not sure. So you know what? Since it's just half an hour in, I will do an intermission. This actually kind of fits now. I've just paused. I wanted to. I think I wanted to talk about some stuff. again to fluff out my video duration. So again, something project management infrastructure, right? And civil engineering is actually a Batman reference because, as we've discussed, Bruce Wayne in the absolute universe is actually a civil engineer, civil worker. Yeah, he's just like us guys. He's just like me. Look, yeah. So uh, this is mainly from the management perspective in civil engineering. There's a lot more perspective that you can get because, well, civil engineering is just a big thing, from the the actual constructing a building and the planning a building, all the counting, the formulations, not the right words, or the all the countings you think you need to do to order make a safe building, you know. It's just a lot. You can be kind of depends on what you're gonna be after college, I guess. Maybe you want to be a manager, consul, consultasi, consultor. I don't know actually yeah. What else can I talk about? I have no clue. Hold on. We've learned. We have learned about purely from the management perspective, and there's already so many things going on in construction. That's why it takes a long ass time with a lot of people, a lot of resources. That's all I wanted to say. Hold on again. I'm just gonna cover this up because I did not make enough slides for this, but I guess I have more things to say. I don't really have more things to say, but I have to. So we're gonna talk about more management stuff because there's a lot more that goes into the things you need to manage. Outside of what have we been talking about? We managed about time, budget, and safety. I'm gonna read a few things, a few more things that you need to manage. Surely there's a synonym for manage. I'm not entirely sure. Uh, Manajemen komunikasi proyek. Komunikasi yang efektif merupakan kunci keberhasilan proyek infrastruktur. Manajemen komunikasi mencakup pencapaian informasi yang tepat, jelas, dan tepat waktu kepada seluruh pemangku kepentingan. Kesalahan komunikasi dapat menyebabkan miskomunikasi teknis, keterlambatan, dan konflik. Oleh karena itu, sistem komunikasi formal seperti rapat rutin, laporan progres, dan dokumentasi tertulis sangat diperlukan. I mean, you have, the thing about group projects, how terrible they can be with the wrong people, the people that can't communicate. Yeah, just imagine that on a way bigger scale and a way critical job. It's terrible, right? That's why you need to properly communicate with everyone, manage that something because if you don't, well, there's gonna be conflict. I mean, maybe even personal stuff. You can't have that. Maybe technical miscommunication as well. That's why you need to constantly check in on everyone, again, to make sure everything's going to plan. Don't mind me spinning around in my chair. It makes me feel comfortable. What else? What else? Should I change my slide? No, I will in a bit. What else? You have to manage change, apparently. Change management. Management. Oh my god. You can't see my... ignore that. Manajemen perubahan. Perubahan dalam proyek infrastruktur hampir tidak bisa dihindari. Manajemen perubahan bertujuan mengendalikan perubahan agar tidak mengganggu tujuan proyek. Setiap perubahan harus dianalisis dampaknya terhadap waktu, biaya, dan mutu. Pengendalian perubahan yang baik membantu menjaga stabilitas proyek. So what I'm gathering from what I've just read is that things are probably not going to go as planned as 100% because that's, we're planning for the ideal stuff. So the realistic thing that's gonna happen during a project is probably I forgot what I was talking about. Something's gonna change, and it's your job if you're the manager, change management manager. That's your job to, make sure that change is within arm's reach. Not the right analogy. I mean, it's like something that you have to contain. Make sure that it's not just turning your project into trash. Make sure your project still works well at that, even with the change that's probably gonna happen in your project. I'm really hungry. I'm gonna change slide, I think. No, I have chosen to stay on the slide because, frankly, I'm gonna talk about more things that you can manage because, it's a lot. The what is it? The fifth thing, like we've talked about, like the management of time, budget, safety, and quality. And what have we just talked about? Change, right? And what else? Communication. Okay, what is this? Right, this is six. So the seventh management thing that we're gonna talk about. I am recording, right? I am. Yeah, okay. Is manajemen material. Manajemen material bertujuan memastikan ketersediaan material tepat waktu dan sesuai spesifikasi. Keterlambatan material dapat menghambat pekerjaan dan meningkatkan biaya. Dalam proses infrastruktur, pengelolaan material harus mempertimbangkan volume besar dan kondisi penyimpangan di lapangan. Yeah, material. Right. Hold on, someone's calling me. Okay, I changed slides because I think it's getting old, and I'm mainly worried about the people skimming over my videos. I need to make sure that they know I'm not looping the shit. Okay, even though I'm gonna talk about more management stuff, my slide is currently gonna be on this template service. Oh, I haven't. There. Okay, you can actually see. I should block it more. Okay, you can actually see the thing. Okay, so the next thing that you can manage is peralatan proyek. Nah, no clue what that's called in English. Manajemen peralatan proyek. Peralatan konstruksi merupakan aset penting dalam proyek infrastruktur. Manajemen peralatan mencakup pemilihan, penggunaan, dan penggunaan alat. Efisiensi penggunaan alat berat sangat mempengaruhi produktivitas proyek. Kerusakan alat dapat menyebabkan keterlambatan pekerjaan. Yeah, you have to take good care of your time, budget, workers, and the tools that they use. Not necessarily like the hammers and stuff. Do you use hammers in construction? Like buildings? You don't really. No. No, you use like those heavy machineries and stuff. Like I'm forgetting what they're called in English. Yeah. Those stuff, bulldozers. That's like the opposite of what we're trying to do. We're trying to construct. Yeah, I forgot what they're called. The ones that are orange stuff. They're usually orange, and the kind of stuff, the kind of machines that they turn into toys. You know the ones. I'm not sure what they're called. Ignore that, and you can also hear this. Manage lingkungan proyek. Manajemen lingkungan proyek. Proyek infrastruktur berpotensi menimbulkan dampak lingkungan. Manajemen lingkungan bertujuan meminimalkan dampak negatif melalui pengendalian limbah, kebisingan, dan polusi. Kepatuhan terhadap regulasi lingkungan menjadi kewajiban dalam proyek infrastruktur. Yeah, you have to also make sure your environment isn't ruining everything else around it. Again, I'm off center, so I'm looking slightly off to the side. That's gonna look weird. Yeah, you need to manage that. Yeah, the environment, that's important. You need people for your project, and there's no people if there's no environment, so you have to take good care of it. Cool. Yeah, this includes, limbah. Again, not sure what that's called in English. Limbah, this pollution, yeah. This can be like physical pollution, I guess. All pollution there's no like mental pollution, I think. I don't think so, not in civil engineering anyways. But yeah, the pollution that you make from your construction, because I know you're constructing things, but there's gonna be stuff that you also produce other than buildings that is like the residue of stuff. Residue is not the right word for it. just like the things that you need to throw out that's been created from your project. Like when you're building a structure, you need to dig out. You can't uh, just put it on top of the ground that's already there. You need to flatten out the ground and also dig it out, because you need to put the strong, like you found, sorry, the strong concrete foundation under everything. So you're gonna have to dig a lot of dirt out, and that's gonna definitely affect the environment, because you're putting all that amount of dirt somewhere, and that can also the pollution that the building can make, not the construction itself. You have to figure out how much pollution that building is gonna make. Like if it's, well, a factory isn't necessarily an infrastructure, but you know any building can have waste. You need to make sure if that waste can be handled properly. Like you make the waste management as convenient as it can get. Like it's wrong to make like a hospital without a proper waste containing area. I'm assuming. I'm not sure what that's called. Sorry for my leg. I'm sitting really comfortably right now, and yeah. What else? Hold on. Look, I even made a whole new slide. Okay, look at the effort I'm putting in. Wait. Okay, to actually read it. Okay. More stuff about infrastructure project management is that pada hakikatnya manajemen proyek infrastruktur itu adalah sistem pengendalian terintegrasi untuk memastikan bahwa suatu infrastruktur dibangun sesuai tujuan publik dengan mengendalikan ruang lingkup, waktu, biaya, mutu, risiko, dan keselamatan secara bersamaan. Proyek infrastruktur bukan sekedar pekerjaan konstruksi, melainkan proses pengambilan keputusan berkelanjutan sejak ide awal hingga infrastruktur berfungsi dan dimanfaatkan masyarakat. Yeah, so it's just an accumulation of everything as building as a concept. Was my nah, okay. Sorry. Dalam konteks ini, seluruh tahapan, inisiasi, studi kelayakan, perencanaan, pelaksanaan pengendalian, hingga penutupan itu tidak berdiri sendiri, tetapi saling berhubung sebagai satu sistem. Right, exactly, it's a system. I'm acting like I didn't just write these down. That's because I did not type any of this. Setiap keputusan teknis selalu memiliki konsekuensi waktu, biaya, sosial, dan lingkungan. Oleh karena itu, manajemen proyek berfungsi sebagai alat kendali agar kompleksitas proyek tetap berada dalam batas yang dapat diterima. Keberhasilan proyek infrastruktur tidak diukur hanya dari selesainya bangunan fisik, tetapi dari tercapainya manfaat jangka panjang, keselamatan publik, keberlanjutan lingkungan, dan akuntabilitas penggunaan sumber daya. Inilah sebabnya manajemen proyek menjadi fondasi utama dalam rekayasa infrastruktur sipil, bukan pelengkap. So there's constructing buildings, there's also managing them, because it's such a big process and convoluted process about making buildings, making sure that people can actually make use out of it, because we put all this effort, resources into making something. They have to use it. What's the angle here? I'm not sure. So yeah, it's just civil engineering as a whole. I think just in infrastructure construction as a whole, from start to finish, management and construction wise. Another thing that I actually want to add, and I'm not gonna make another slide for it because it's not worth it, I don't think, is the interesting thing that infrastructure as a whole is sebuah sistem sosioteknis. So it's not purely just a technical thing, it also has tie-ins, not the word, with humans as a whole, like the culture and stuff. Rekayasa infrastruktur sipil tidak dapat dipahami hanya sebagai persoalan teknis atau konstruksi fisik. Infrastruktur pada dasarnya adalah sistem sosioteknis. yaitu sistem yang terbentuk dari interaksi antara komponen teknis, struktur, material, teknologi, dan komponen sosial, manusia, kebijakan, ekonomi, budaya, dan lingkungan. Setiap keputusan teknis dalam proyek infrastruktur selalu berdampak pada masyarakat, dan sebaliknya kondisi sosial memengaruhi keberhasilan teknis proyek. Dalam praktiknya, kegagalan infrastruktur seringkali bukan disebabkan oleh kesalahan perhitungan teknis semata, melainkan oleh kegagalan memahami konteks sosial. So it's not, well, sometimes it is, like from the technical aspect. Take it from the case of, is it not that recent anymore? It's the boarding school that took a lot of lives, and frankly, never really got any justice served to it. Like the people who did it, the people who were directly responsible for it. Well, not the managers, because frankly, there were not any managers, consultant there. You know, people who murdered them are the people who make the choice to do all of these like uh, choices. Yeah, choices and changes to their buildings, even though it was not suited for them at all. Like it could not adapt to the changes that they wanted. So in return, a lot of people died, and they got away with it. Unfortunately, uh, yeah. So that does happen from a technical aspect, but also there's another play in there. Is just the cultural stuff, uh, the religion that plays into that. You know, how they can actually get away with it is a direct cause from the environment, the culture that's in that area, and how civil engineering sometimes isn't taken too seriously. And it's always just more about religion rather than other things that helps out in the construction of a building. There was no proper calculations. There were just greed and zero consequences for it. And frankly, it's really sad to see. But that's one of the examples of it being a technical mistake. Not a technical mistake, but also other cases, uh, they just didn't pay enough attention to the kondisi sosial yang memengaruhi keberhasilan teknis proyek. So technically, sometimes outside of a technical problem, failures can also happen because of the social environment of the infrastructure. Contohnya adalah proyek yang secara struktur aman tetapi ditolak masyarakat, atau infrastruktur yang secara teknis baik namun tidak berfungsi optimal karena tidak sesuai kebutuhan pengguna. I'm pretty sure my professor made an example of that. Forgot what it is, but it's like a building in this Kendari. Hold on. That's, it's standing, I guess, but it's just not used at all by anyone. I think it's a place where you can like put in suggestion about surrounding the city's development or something like that. I forgot what it's called really. It's kind of far into town. Yeah, I forgot what it's called. Ya, so jadi karena itu insinyur sipil dituntut untuk berpikir sistemik. Infrastruktur harus dirancang tidak hanya kuat dan efisien, tetapi juga dapat diterima secara sosial, berkelanjutan secara lingkungan, dan layak secara ekonomi. Perspektif ini menjadi pondasi penting dalam mata kuliah pengantar rekayasa infrastruktur sipil karena membentuk cara berpikir insinyur sejak awal pendidikan. So we don't learn only about the calculations, the numbers. I mean, we haven't even touched that yet at all. I don't even know what's going on. We also learn about the other stuff that, maybe normal people don't think about, goes into making an infrastructure, especially a public building, and not just a regular building, private. This one's for public use. So there's a lot more things that go into it, a lot more things to consider from the people who are actually going to use it. Yeah. So how successful an infrastructure can be, an infrastructure can be measured by how much is it being used by the people around it. Has it reached its goal yet? Is it doing a good job at its job? And not just from the profit that you gain from it. Well, I guess they're kind of the same, because the more people use it, the more people using it, the more profit you're gonna get. Just make sure your projects are actually making people's life, better, for the better, not just like wasting everybody's time with a project that doesn't even help anyone, or even worse, brings danger into the public. That's crazy, you know? Okay, I'm gonna attempt to do a recap that lasts 5 minutes. Okay, hold on, look. So, this is kind of a recap, kind of. I'm gonna talk about the cycle of an infrastructure life. Siklus hidup infrastruktur. Rekayasa infrastruktur harus dipahami sebagai suatu proses jangka panjang yang mencakup seluruh siklus hidup infrastruktur, bukan hanya tahap konstruksi. Siklus hidup infrastruktur dimulai dari identifikasi kebutuhan, perencanaan, desain, konstruksi, operasi, pemeliharaan, rehabilitasi, hingga pada akhirnya pembongkaran atau penggantian. Frankly, that's another step that I never even thought about. You don't build an infrastructure on the plans of destroying it at the end of the day, but I guess that's gonna happen when you have maybe a better idea, a better update to the building that can sometimes just be added in onto the building, or just demolish it. I guess if that's more menguntungkan, I guess you could do that. Never thought about that. Setiap tahap memiliki peran penting dan saling mempengaruhi satu sama lain. Kesalahan atau keputusan yang kurang tepat pada tahap awal, khususnya perencanaan dan desain, akan berdampak besar pada tahap operasi dan pemeliharaannya. Sebaliknya, perencanaan yang baik dapat menurunkan biaya pemeliharaan dan memperpanjang umur layanan infrastruktur. I take it back. The pre-planning stuff is really important, because there's probably so many cases where it's just some buildings, some things aren't engineered properly because of a silly thing that they didn't consider. Because I guess at the end of the day, even with the digital modern tools that we have, all the thinking are still being done with human minds. Human minds that can make human errors. And I guess it's kind of inevitable, but try your best not to, because the best outcome is that it's just a small inconvenient thing, like maybe a part of a building can't be properly well maintained because of the shape of it, like maybe things get stuck there, so it gets dirty really often. That's like the best scenario that I can think of, and the worst scenario is that actually people dying directly from your building, and maybe like the lack of maintenance from it. So yeah, the pre-planning stuff is absolutely integral to infrastructure and just construction buildings as a whole. Uh, yeah, oleh karena itu insinyur sipil dituntut untuk berpikir jangka panjang dan mempertimbangkan biaya siklus hidup, bukan hanya biaya awal konstruksi. So yeah, one of the goals that you need to make, one of the principles you need to put in your buildings, is that it lasts long, like generations. Yeah, you need to make sure, or at least try to make a building that will continue to be useful, continue making profit, and be useful for the public. Something that lasts, as in like it doesn't damage the environment, something that can continuously be used by the public. I'm just saying the same things over and over again, but that's important. Keberlangsungan bangunan. Pemahaman siklus hidup infrastruktur membentuk paradigma bahwa tugas insinyur sipil tidak berhenti ketika bangunan selesai, melainkan berlanjut selama infrastruktur tersebut digunakan oleh masyarakat. Yeah, so you don't just leave the buildings as is, but it's just an ongoing project. I think that is another way to view it as. To conclude my presentation about proses manajemen proyek infrastruktur, rekayasa infrastruktur sipil adalah proses pengelolaan sistem kompleks yang mengintegrasikan aspek teknis, sosial, ekonomi, dan lingkungan. Infrastruktur tidak hanya dinilai dari keberhasilan konstruksinya, tetapi dari kinerja dan manfaatnya sepanjang siklus hidup. Manajemen proyek berperan penting dalam mengendalikan tujuan, risiko, dan sumber daya agar kepentingan publik tercapai secara aman dan berkelanjutan. Oleh karena itu, insinyur sipil dituntut memiliki pola pikir sistemik, tanggung jawab etis, dan orientasi jangka panjang dalam setiap keputusan rekayasa. So, yeah, I've made a comeback of all the pictures I like from earlier slides. So we've learned about the steps in infrastructure project management and the fact that infrastructure planning takes a lot more than just the physical calculations. There's also like the human interaction part of it. Sekian dari saya. Mohon maaf, video ini banyak kurangnya. Wabillahi taufik walhidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.